Welcome to Paired Publishing, using events to launch your book. This is the third book that I published in 2013. This was the second book that I released. So overachieving me, right? So my first book was 371 total pages with a 365-day devotional. My second book was a bust, which was For This Cause I Bow My Knees. And not that it wasn't great writing, it was just not produced very well. So in 2013, I was hosting events, and I had been hosting events for a number of years. The first event I hosted was in 2003, and that was in California. So in 2013, by then, I had moved to Las Vegas, and I had been living there and hosting conferences for a few years. So I decided, since I had already had an audience with the arts community in dance, that I was going to do a leadership focused event. So I already had an audience for this book, and I always tell authors to build an audience for your book in advance, okay? So always think about that if you can. Don't let it stop you from publishing. But as best as you can, if you have an audience, you'll have greater success in terms of book sales and how to achieve those goals and to actually have readers. Okay, so this time was different. So before, I had done general conferences on dance. This time it was specialized, so I had a specialized focus. And because I was becoming more entrepreneurial, 2013, remember, I had gone full-time in my business in 2009. Publishing my first book was part of the reason why I was able to be a full-time entrepreneur, because of the additional opportunities that it provided for me to move into speaking, to move into book sales, to move into retail sales. So this was an extension of that. So I decided to host a conference, and we had business classes this time. So we had business classes, how to build websites, how to have like a garment making type of business. So I was pushing people to be a little more profitable in this area of the arts. So I decided, since I like to write, as a good companion, that I was going to do an ebook. And so this is for some of the people who think I'll only do an ebook, as if that takes less excellence or less professionalism to do. So I decided, okay, so as a bonus for people who register for this event, I'm going to give them a PDF or a digital copy of my book. Well, by the time I had finished writing it, I decided to go ahead and publish it. So let me say this for people who think that just publishing digital books is a little bit of the easy way. Number one, it still needs to be well written. Number two, it needs to be edited. Number three, it needs to be formatted, and you still need great visuals in terms of a cover to do it. So you might as well, if you're going to go through all of that, also offer the printed version of the book. It's not that it costs that much more, and you extend your ability to be profitable when you do that. And so another thing that kind of held me back was, since my first book, and I've shown it to you a few times, was so thick, this book was skinny. This is Dance Leaders Advance. So the name of my event was also Dance Leaders Advance, and this was part of the advertising and marketing campaign. This book is thin, okay, thick and thin, right? So I was thinking, well, if I put out a thin book, would people respect it as much? And I am telling you that there are people who appreciate the ability to get through books. All of your books do not have to be the same length. If you're doing it for a purpose and it has great content, it will still be a great read. So do not allow the length of a book to limit you. Now, I will say this though, do not underfill the vessel. So here's another way that I put it. Whatever the size of the vessel, fill it. Some things are 10-gallon containers and some things are half a cup. So you need to fill it up. And when it's filled, be okay with that. But everything doesn't have to be a 10-gallon or a big old volume worth of stuff. So alleviate yourself from that. So I decided to go ahead and to produce the book, right? So I was still Renaissance Publications at that time. And I like to do books that I don't see everyone do. So Company Keepers was a 365-day devotional that I had not seen. I decided to write a book to dance leaders that I had not seen. So I addressed the different levels of leadership since I had gone through all of them, right? The different levels of leadership and the types of challenges that these leaders face at different levels, because everybody doesn't lead at the same level. Some people lead 50, some people lead 500, some people lead 5,000, some people lead 500,000. And the pressures and the responsibilities about that are different. So I wanted to be able to address that. And so I am also encouraging you, as you host events, this is paired publishing, right? So it's going to help you. But as you host events, try to stay cutting edge. Try to address things that they can't get anywhere else. And for me, not only was I giving them answers, but giving them a book that had the same name as the conference that addressed some of the common issues that I saw them do. Okay, so I went ahead and published it as a companion for that event. And so what does that do? When you publish an event, and when you publish a book, and I've done this in hand with many events, and people were flying from all over. So I lived in Vegas, and people were flying from all over the country, and some internationally, to come to this event. So I already had a built-in market that my book was relevant for. And this will help you as you are planning any type of event. It doesn't have to be a conference, but if you are gathering people, think about strategic writings and strategic publications and publishing that you can do that addresses your target is right there. So if I'm releasing a book at a conference, then my ideal reader is right there. So people want to be the first to buy that book, right? People want to be part of the first to get that book signed by you. Also, when you are in event spaces, people get to spend more time with you, ask more questions. So as I was teaching workshops, and I have my books, and I do this right now, right? When I go to events and I have books, the immediate impact is there. The immediate sales are there. So this is one strategy that I use even in events that I do. So not only do I have a booth, hey Marion, hey, I see y'all on here. Not only do I usually have a booth at a conference, whether I am hosting it or I am a guest, right? But when I teach at a workshop, what I've learned to do and works really well, especially lately, is I take several copies of my book inside of that room with me. They're right there, right? And then so at the end of it, if we have a chance and we have time, I'll have limited editions. This happened recently with Company Keepers in New Jersey. I have limited editions and say, hey, I only have 10 copies of this book. People will line up and buy that book. So my table, practically, I'm selling all of the books by not necessarily waiting on people to come to me, but bringing those books in that classroom with them. And then I have an assistant, right, who stands on the side. So she's handling my book sales while I'm speaking to the people and wrapping it up so that I don't go over time. Okay, so that is a strategy that you can do for events with your books when you pair it with publishing. Wherever your direct audience and your direct market is, that is a great opportunity for sales for you. Okay, so another way that I've paired this, and this will work, think about this conference host and event host. So when I pair publishing, so when I did Worship Incorporated, one of the things that I did was I pre-sold copies of my book, and this was the way to get them to buy it. So I said, hey, you're coming to the conference. I want you to be one of the first people to get this book. So I pre-sold copies of that book, and then I had an opening night. So what I said was, on opening night, everyone who has ordered pre-sale copies of the book, I had their books ready to go. I was doing a special book signing for those people, but everyone else did not get to buy them until the next day. So that might be a good strategy for you. So pre-sales only. You all got the first copies of the book. I'll do a meet and greet with you if you buy that book early. This is worth money, okay? If you buy that book early and you get your hands on it first. No one else gets to buy these copies. Even tonight, I'm not doing sales, right? I'll do sales the next day. So that was a strategic way, call it FOMO, fear of missing out, that people were able to be one of the first supporters. You can take pictures with them for your social media, and you can also take testimonials. So if you have additional people, I do suggest that when you are doing releases that you have a team of people that are working with you, someone to do transactions or someone to hand you books. So if I pre-sale, that person's handing me books, I'm signing them. I also have someone who is taking photos, someone who is capturing video, and hopefully they can step to the side and say, hi, can you do a video about how you're excited to have this book? And the person has the book in their hand and they're talking. And then so what do? I then go take those videos that are in my phone and I can post those for social proof on social media to increase my sales. Okay, so that is why paired publishing can work really well, because you have an audience that is ready for you. They're excited for you. So whether you're the host or whether you're a speaker or a guest, people are excited and they came to see you and they want to continue that relationship, and books is a great way to do that. Okay, and then another way to pair publishing is schedule a book release party, schedule a special signing. So even if you have a vendor booth, is there or can you arrange with that host, or if you are the host, have a special celebration, a special lunch, a special signing where you're going to answer questions. So what I would do is I would read, she said it was good stuff. I don't want to miss out on the right stuff, baby. So I would go pre-highlight, right? With my trusty highlighter in my copy of the book, and I would go pre-highlight like some really juicy pieces of that book or things that I thought would resonate with people, and I would read excerpts of that aloud. What do? You take your trusty assistants and you do the same thing. You record that and you can use it for social media. There's all kinds of content that you can have, and you can put snippets and newsletters or however you want to do it, but people want to see you in action. So I read specific excerpts from the book that also builds excitement for the book. And so if someone was sitting on the fence or they didn't know, they're like, I need to get a copy of that book. Okay, so there are ways for you, not only as an event, but during the event, to continue to have special moments with people that are able to talk with you about your book. You can read your book, you can release your book, you can celebrate that book. It can be a dinner, it can be a lunch, it can be a breakfast, it can be a breakout, it can be whatever you want it to be. But there are multiple ways for you to present and to share the contents of your book when you pair them with conferences. So for those of you who do that, the conference and the book do not have to have the same title, but your audience should be focused when you're doing this so that you can reach them. So for instance, even with me, with 19 books, y'all, I remember years ago, I broke a suitcase. I had so many books, and it was so heavy. This was locally here in the Dallas area, now that I'm here, right? The suitcase wheels broke. That's how, and I said, I can't do all of this. So now when I go to events and I pair publishing with these events, depending on what I'm teaching. So recently I went to Charlotte and I taught about business, right? I was doing business and leadership. So I took my business and leadership books. I did not take my dance books. And even though it was a dance conference, there were other people there who were dance centric. So I did not feel the need, because I wasn't teaching that subject, to lug all that weight with me. So because remember, I'm in my workshop and I'm taking my books there, the subject that I'm talking about is why they're in the room. Another year, I had done a workshop on how to get speaking engagements. So I surely took 7 ways to get speaking engagements, right? This is how you successfully pair publishing with events, and it works very, very well. So I advise you to do it, okay? That's just one way. So that's just book 3 of 19. So remember, every weekday, I'm going to go live, not at the same time. This week, I'm doing it at 4 p.m., but next week, it might be different because I have a little travel in my schedule, okay? So next up, you will want to tune in tomorrow, because this is going to help those of you who have large groups and organizations and you would like to do something strategically to raise additional funds or promote your brand or awareness for your cause. Tomorrow, I am going to talk about Training to Reign. That was book number 4, and I produced this book and assembled the writers from Reign Dance Company. And those of you who know me know that I had a dance company in Las Vegas for 5 years, from 2019 to 2013, until I moved here to the Texas area. Okay? I think I got those dates right, child. Look, girl, I've been living a long time. Anyway, Training to Reign. I'm going to talk about that. And I will talk about how anthologies can be used to promote a cause or organization. So you'll want to tune in for that. I will give you some tips on how to legally protect yourself, how to assemble, and what kind of to put in place with that. But Training to Reign, it was a group project. Oh, my girls. Oh my goodness. We need to do a reunion soon, okay? So I'll talk about that tomorrow. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, be sure to write them out, and you know that I will respond to you. So yes, all of your books do not have to be. I think the minimum number of pages now to print this book is 24. However, if your page count is less than 100, you do not get writing on the spine. So if it's over 100, right? Sorry, y'all, I'm trying. Like, you get writing on the spine. But if it's under 100, with Amazon in particular, they don't write on your spine. So a lot of times I try to make sure that I'm producing books that have at least 100 pages, and you can do tricks with that. But anyway, so Paired Publishing, I hope that you got some great gems and some great tools and tips for that. And then tomorrow I will teach you how group book projects or anthologies can promote awareness for you, your team, your organization, or your cause. We are marching into publishing. I am so excited to have live workshops back. Trust me, 2025 is the right year. And you will see some amazing things from me this year, because teams are terrific and teams are essential to your growth and to your expansion. So on March the 29th, right here in the Dallas area in Plano, I will be hosting March into Publishing. That is a live workshop. Sorry, I'm grabbing the flyer for those of you who may not have seen it online, right? So we're March into Publishing, March the 29th. So March into Publishing is the website. Go on over there. It's only 25 books. You can register, bring a friend, refer a friend. If you know someone in the Dallas area that needs to publish, if you want to fly, you got some time, okay, to catch a cheap flight and do a turnaround if you want to. But that is March into Publishing from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to be chock full of strategic things, including modern tips for how to publish and to get excellent books out on the market. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Rakesha Pittman. I am the midwife to over 1,000 authors worldwide, and we go east as an entrepreneur, author, speaker, trainer. Stay tuned, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.